Welcome back to our special coverage of the India-Pakistan Prime Ministerial level meeting. And the big takeaways are coming in now because there has been a joint statement by the two sides. Among the big takeaways, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has accepted Nawaz Sharif's invitation to visit Pakistan to attend the 2016 SAARC summit that is expected in January-February. There has been headway, importantly, on India's demand on the 2611 trial because Pakistan has assured India that A, it will expedite the trial, agreed to discuss issues related to the trial, importantly agreed to give voice samples of the accused in the case. That's the important point. Pakistan has agreed to give voice samples of the accused in the 2611 case. Both sides have agreed that it is their collective responsibility to ensure peace and development, both leaders condemning terrorism in all forms, and a meeting again significantly between the two national security advisors will take place in Delhi shortly to discuss all issues related to terrorism. Also a meeting will be there between the DG Rangers and the BSF. Remember, this is in the context of the repeated violations along the LOC that have taken place, and familiarly both sides have agreed to release each other's fishermen along with the boats. So clearly some steps have been taken, but that expediting of the Mumbai trial along with voice samples, a demand that in the past Pakistan has not accepted, would suggest that there has been important forward movement that has taken place here today. So that is the big story that's coming in at the moment from UFA, the fact that this progress has been made. Smita Sharma joining me. Smita, are we expecting a more detailed response at some stage from the Indian Foreign Office, or is this joint statement because no questions were taken? Is this the end of the matter?
Well, it's not the end of the matter. We will get more details, of course, coming in. But clearly, this seems to be progress, Rajdeep. You know, for the longest time, I have at least have not seen two foreign secretaries come out and read a statement in such a synchronized manner and actually make it a joint statement without taking any further questions. The two foreign secretaries have not come out and contradicted each other or, of course, gone ahead and done separate press conference, at least so far, where they have contradicted each other's positions or tried to sound more tough for their domestic constituencies. So far, you know, the two essential takeaways, of course, the national security advisor level sort of upgradation, because terrorism does remain the key issue when it comes to building trust between India and Pakistan. So taking it up to the level of somebody like an Ajit Doval from the Indian side, who of course understands counterintelligence operations, who understands counter-terrorism operations, and somebody like a Sartaj Aziz from the Pakistani side, who has been an India hand, you know, in a way, who has understood India-Pakistan relations for a very, very long time. So that is very, very significant. And so far, remember, as far as this voice samples issue was concerned, Rajdeep, Pakistan has always maintained that legally it is not possible for them because you require the consent of the people. They might be an alleged terrorist, but you require their consent if you want to hand over the voice samples. And for the longest time, India, every time it has handed over those years, around 13 of them on the Mumbai attacks, has said that 90% of the evidence lies on Pakistani soil, crucial to which are these voice samples, which need to be matched. So that we have to watch as to really how they take forward that.
Let's go and listen in, though, to that press conference which took place a short while ago, exactly what was said by the two sides.
Agreed joint statements reads as follows. The Prime Ministers of Pakistan and India met today on the sidelines of SCO summit in UFA. The meeting was held in a cordial atmosphere. The two leaders exchanged views on issues of bilateral and regional interest. They agreed that India and Pakistan have a collective responsibility to ensure peace and promote development. To do so, they are prepared to discuss all outstanding issues. Both leaders condemned terrorism in all its forms and agreed to cooperate with each other to eliminate this menace from South Asia.
If I could carry on, they also agreed on the following steps to be taken by the two sides. One, a meeting in New Delhi between the two NSAs to discuss all issues connected to terrorism. Two, early meetings of DG BSF and DG Pakistan Rangers, followed by that of the DGMOs. 3. A decision for release of fishermen in each other's custody along with the boats within a period of 15 days. 4. A mechanism for facilitating religious tourism. And 5. Both sides agreed to discuss ways and means to expedite the Mumbai case trial, including additional information like providing voice samples. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif reiterated his invitation to Prime Minister Modi to visit Pakistan for the SAARC summit in 2016. Prime Minister Modi accepted that invitation. Thank you very much.
Okay, just a minute. The BJP spokesperson, meanwhile, MJ Akbar, now MP, is also speaking. Listen in.
Given a commitment on what was surely the most important issue for us, terrorism, perhaps there is now an opportunity to take the relationship forward.
The Congress party has been of the opinion that after the fresh attack that took place yesterday and a BSF Jawan lost his life, then this meeting that took place between the Prime Minister and Nawaz Sharif was uncalled for. The meeting should not have been done in the first place.
It's very difficult for us to know what precisely is the Congress position, because last night there was one position, this morning there is another position. When one Congress leader speaks, it's one voice. When another speaks, it's totally different. I don't know if Manish Tiwari is the spokesman or not. I don't know if Mani Shankar Iyer is in the Congress or not. So it's perhaps I don't want to make a comment. Frankly, we would like to keep our comments on a very serious issue. And why waste time on irrelevance?
It has also been reported that a possible iftar party that was to be hosted by the Pakistani envoy for separatists on July 4th was postponed, not cancelled, in light of this meeting which was to happen, because they did not want that particular event to overshadow this meeting. But it could still take place, and if it does, would that be a setback for the sort of forward movement that's happened in the relationship? I mean, they've not cancelled it. There's a postponement without a date.
It's a very curious situation because it's very difficult to answer a question on the basis of ifs and buts.
But we called off talks with them the last time.
Yes, precisely. The Pakistan got the message. चले चलिए थैंक यू
कांग्रेस का ये कहना है कि भी प्रधानमंत्री खुद नवाज शरीफ से मिलने गए हैं, ना कि नवाज शरीफ हमसे मिलने आज
चलिए थैंक यू
Okay, so that's the BJP spokesperson MJ Akbar there speaking at the moment. Let's get in Saleh Zafar, editor of The Jung, to get a Pakistani reaction. How do you see this playing out, Mr. Jung?
Yeah,
Mr. Zafar?
To my assessment, I think these are the cosmetics. And the only hopeful thing about this joint communication is that Pakistan and India have decided to resume their talks, which will pave the way for their regular talks subsequently. But I think this meeting between the two prime ministers itself is a breakthrough from Pakistan's point of view, from my angle, and I think they should agree to continue that personal contact between the two prime ministers.
Right.
And nobody has talked about their future meeting, except this one thing that has come in the joint communication, that the two prime ministers will meet. Rather, the Indian Prime Minister will visit to Pakistan next year. I feel that the two Prime Ministers will be again meeting somewhere in September when they'll be together in United Nations at New York. And I think it should be a welcoming sign that the two Prime Ministers have agreed for the resumption of higher-level talks. This is the assessment. While you're talking about the issues, I think they have not addressed in the way that you should imagine that there is a solution for all these things in the near future.
Okay, the sense that I'm getting is the Pakistanis are calling it cosmetics. I think that's what the hardline groups will call it, but it's been much more than that. Let's be clear, this is not cosmetics that we've seen. If the Pakistanis are committing to the 2016-11 trial in a joint statement in the context of voice samples, had they just said in general terms, we want to expedite the 2016-11 trial, that would have been no different to what has been said a year ago. But they seem to have gone well beyond what was said in May 2014.
I think also, you know, in terms, you know, you just look at the significance. You had asked, and I'd said early in the day that this is going to be a significant meeting. You had said, what happens if another terror attack happens? Look, they've addressed that question by getting the NSAs to meet, by getting the BSF guys to meet, then the DGMO. They have opened a channel to address this constant thing. And the first priority, before they get to a full structured dialogue of any kind, is to keep the border quiet. And that's why you see the series of these meetings that they've done. That's the significance. India had a great concern saying, look, don't put a gun to our head and then expect us to negotiate. And you can't keep killing our Jawans every day on the border. You've got to come to some agreement on this. And you cannot allow terrorists to dictate that agenda. So immediately if there's an incident right now, you've got a mechanism for both sides to meet. So it makes it more difficult for them to renege out of any of these things.
I think that's very, very significant, and I completely agree with you. But if you just look at the 5 points that Jaishankar read out, and he's actually talked, it's a structured engagement. So the first sort of step, as it were, is that within the next 15 days, both countries have to release fishermen and their boats on both sides. So step 1 begins with the release of fishermen, and step 5 ends with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Pakistan for the for a visit as part of the SAARC summit. So I think in the next year, if you begin, and I think both sides will then look at each other and talk and see how much engagement there is, how much trust that they can build. So if you begin with the fishermen and the boats, you go on with DGMOs, you go on with the BSF, there will be meeting, both sides will now definitely, both leaders will definitely meet at the UNGA. I'm sure the Pakistan NSA will come to Delhi sooner than later. So in a sense, there is a roadmap that has been laid out over the next 1 year before they can get into some sort of a much more structured composite dialogue or not. So this roadmap is significant.
Okay, I think there is more agreement in the post-noon than there was this morning, which suggests that even the skeptics are now accepting that this meeting has been more than just cosmetics. I think this meeting does suggest a renewal of the engagement. Where it goes, we don't know. But we'll have to see with NSA level talks, with DGMO talks, FS level talks, all likely to take place over the next few months. Maybe India and Pakistan are once again back on track. But that, remember, in the past has not really resulted in major breakthroughs. Maybe 2015 will be different. We'll come back and get concluding remarks.